Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Machina'S Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Machina'S logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to my Should You Pull series, where I suggest to you guys why you should or should not be pulling for particular banners in Dissidia Opera Omnia. And in this video we're going to be going through Machina'S event banner. So just a quick overview at what you can get on this banner. Obviously you can get Machina EX alongside with his 15 and his 35 CP weapon, and together with him is Rem EX 15, 35 CP weapons as well. And of course the third wheel will be Sid from Final Fantasy 7, and you will be able to grab his 15 and his 35 CP weapon. And with that out of the way, let's take a look at these EX weapons. Okay, we'll start it off with a review of Rem EX. So this is a returning EX weapon, and it's called the Defender's Dagger, and will give you the EX ability Siphon Delta. Now Siphon Delta is a 2-hit AoE magic brave plus HP attack, 100% HP damage dealt to all enemies, so that's a splash damage of 100%. It has a low action delay and greatly restores all the party members' HP based on the HP damage dealt, up to 20% of their max HP upon recovering their HP. If the healing amount exceeds the target's max HP, the excess is converted to Brave and grants the Siphon buff for 1 turn, and moderately raising the attack for 5 turns as well. Now Siphon nullifies any count consumption, so that's a free turn basically, and this has a slightly fast recast speed, so you can kind of spam this one. Well, you can really spam this one. At 1 out of 3 limit break, it slightly raised the brave damage dealt by Siphon Delta. At 2 out of 3, it will moderately increase the brave damage dealt to a single target, and at 3 out of 3, it will slightly raise the recast speed of Siphon Delta. Now let's take a look at the EX Plus version of this weapon, or the realized version. Of course, it will improve the EX ability of Siphon Delta. At 0 out of 3, when using Siphon Delta, the Stolen Brave can overflow to 120% of her max Brave. And at 1 out of 3, when using Siphon Delta, it will now increase the number of Brave hits to 4, and will increase the total Brave potency of Siphon Delta as well. At 2 out of 3, it will slightly raise the max Brave and attack for Rem, and at 3 out of 3, when using Siphon Delta, it will raise the party's Brave based on the max Brave before any Brave hits occur, and will slightly raise the max Brave overflow limit of Siphon Delta. The bonus sphere that you will be getting here if you do max it out is Danger HP Regen Long. After taking HP damage, when HP is below 50%, it will restore the HP by 5% of the max HP for 6 turns. The same spheres do not stack as well. So after going through her EX and her EX Plus weapon, what do I think of Rem? Well, one thing to note is she will be getting a rework for Machina'S release, and she will be a lot more viable for the chaos fights. Now the biggest things, or the biggest changes, is now her cure will give her a unique frame buff called Devoted Heart. Now this will raise the party's attack instead of just the one person, so it raises the party's attack and will also grant the party an HP regen, so that is really great. The other change now is for her swap ability. So instead of using a turn when you use swap. Now this doesn't increase the turn count anymore, which is really an amazing buff. Not only does it increase the max brave now, it will also grant a speed up as well. So that's a really good thing for Rem. Now she has a lot of turn shenanigans that you can use, and she's a really great character to invest on. Now these other small changes are her passive abilities, the buff attack up. Now it will just flat out raise the attack while she's buff, where I think before it was a low brave attack up, so her brave has to be lower than her initial brave before it actually triggers her passive. So that's one good thing. And the other one is the HP attack all, which will raise the party's attack when the HP is more than 50%. And before it was only for herself, and now it's for the entire party as well. So a very good character to invest in. Okay, so next one is the featured character, which is Machina. So the EX weapon that you can get for him is called the Corkscrew Rapier. This will equip the EX ability Guardian Blaze, which is a 6-hit AoE melee brave attack plus a single target HP attack, which moderately raises the brave damage dealt to a single target and converts 30% of the HP damage dealt to brave. This will also grant him the unique buff Guardian Blades for 6 turns. Now Guardian Blades, when Guardian Blades is active, it counters the enemy's brave attacks with a 2-hit melee brave attack. This also raises his max brave, lowers the brave damage taken, and grants himself a brave regen as well. This has a normal recast speed, and at 1 out of 3 limit break, it slightly raised the brave damage dealt with Guardian Blades. At 2 out of 3, the stolen brave can overflow to 150% of the max brave, and at 3 out of 3, it will slightly raise the recast speed of Guardian Blades. Now, if you do decide to make it an EX Plus or realize this weapon, it will obviously improve the EX ability Guardian Blades. Now, when using Guardian Blades, it will moderately raise the brave potency and moderately raising the max brave overflow limit at 0 out of 3 limit break. At 1 out of 3, it will moderately raise the attack, and at 2 out of 3, when the quest starts, you will be granted the Awakening frame buff for 6 turns, and at 3 out of 3, again, it will moderately raise the brave potency and raise the max brave overflow limit of Guardian Blades. Now, the bonus sphere that you will be getting is Break Hit Base Attack Short, which is basically when breaking a target or attacking a broken target, it will raise the initial brave and attack by 10% for the next 3 turns. So after going through Machina'S EX and his EX Plus weapon, what do I think of him as a character? Well, he's kind of in a weird space, at least in my opinion. He has this Guardian Blades frame buff, but he doesn't have anything to provoke the enemy for him to keep on using this counter. I mean, he's kind of like a tank but doesn't have a provoke, just like when I believe Edge was like this before he got his rework. He doesn't actually have provoke, he just like will dodge everything basically, which is kind of weird. I would have liked it if he actually had some sort of provoke ability, but he's stuck with this, basically like a tankish kind of buff, but you can't take advantage of it all the time. So it doesn't pair up very well with tanks at all. So yeah, that's where I stand with Machina. So now let's take a look at his other abilities. The first one being Awakening. Basically, this will just give him the Awakening buff and will change his HP attack to Furious Blades, which just translates to like an HP attack plus. And obviously when you get all the passives, it'll work like an HP attack plus, since it will be doing like 4 hits instead of 2. It doesn't have any brave overflow though, as far as I can tell. And obviously it will change his Brave Attack to Brave Attack Plus as well. It will have low action delays, both his Brave Attack and HP attack. And when you're breaking or attacking a broken target, it will turn Fierce Blades into Fierce Blades Plus. And the Stolen Brave can overflow up to 120% of his max Brave. It doesn't increase the turn count, but it does decrease the friend support and summon action count. So, you know, he has a little bit of a turn shenanigans happening. And just think of it just like lightning or jet. When you break someone, or you know, when you break someone, you do get that extra turn. So I guess this doesn't count as an extra turn. It just doesn't increase the turn count, which is kind of nice. His second ability is more of a traditional Brave plus HP attack, with the kicker of getting a certain percentage back of his Brave, depending on how much HP damage he dealt with that ability. So overall, he's a not bad character. Alright, so let's finally take a look how much you should be investing on these weapons. We'll start off with Rem. I think the minimum amount is just 0 out of 3, because this is where she gets the Brave Overflow, and honestly, Rem is not a DPS character, so you shouldn't really be too much concerned in doing more Brave hits or anything of that sort, you know. I guess if you're gonna invest on it, like my opinion, just stay at 1 out of 3, because this is the point where you get more Brave damage out of it. If you just want to at least, you know, cap her off in terms of damage wise, like capping her max Brave and doing as much damage as you can, because I mean, at 2 out of 3 you will just slightly raise her max Brave and her attack, which, you know, it's nice, but it's totally unnecessary. And at 3 out of 3, it's just more Brave hits, more Brave battery and more max Brave overflow, which I don't think you need any more, because you already get some Brave back out of Siphon Delta to begin with. And I was really hoping they would do something around that Siphon buff, but they didn't in this case. So I think a minimum at 0 out of 3. If anything, you want to invest a little bit more at 1 out of 3 in order for her to at least cap off her max Brave damage with her EX ability. Okay, so now let's take a look at Machina'S. How much should you invest on this EX? I personally feel like you should just stay at 0 out of 3 as well with this one. It's not like he's getting a lot out of 1 out of 3. It just will raise his attack. I guess that's a little bit nice, because at 0 out of 3 it already raises the Brave potency of Guardian Blaze, and will also raise the max Brave overflow limit. So for the most part, you're already covered with the Brave potency, so you probably won't need that extra attack. If you are, however, a big fan of Machina, I personally feel like 2 out of 3 limit break is the best, or the max investment you should be putting on this EX, only because it will grant him that awakening buff at the start of the quest. So that's up for 6 turns straight away, so you don't have to use his first ability. But here's the thing, it's 1 turn. It only takes him 1 turn to get that awakening buff. It's not like a ramp up buff like a lot of the other characters have, like say Agrius with her ramp up. With Ace, it's another ramp up. With Machina, you just have to use his first ability and you will already get this awakening buff, and it also triggers an HP attack if you have the crystal passive for it. So I'm not really sure what they were going with adding awakening at the start of the quest. I suppose it's a nice little thing that you don't have to do it, but like I said, it's only for 1 turn. That's why, even though I say the max is 2 out of 3, it's only because you do get that 1 extra turn that you don't have to use that awakening ability. So in any case, I feel it might be worth it if you're really a big fan of Machina, but again, minimum 0 out of 3 for me. Alright, so it's finally towards the end of the video, and we shall take a look why you should be pulling for this banner. Now, the first reason is you need a good healer or a decent melee character. Now, honestly, the prize for here, I feel like if you don't own it already, is going to be Rem EX. That rework is really good. Machina is decent, but Rem, I feel like, takes the cake in this banner. So that's just my own opinion. You could have a different opinion, of course. Let's take a look at the next reason why you should be pulling for this. Is again, it's going to be if you need more characters for Dimension's End. You know what? Rem is actually a pretty decent healer. She's actually really good. No turn counts with those swaps is really amazing. And again, Machina is a decent melee character. And the final reason is you're just a big fan of the Type O series and you want to get every single one of them, and this is your chance to get Machina'S. You know, he is quite decent character. There are some flaws that I think of him. When I think of him, there are some flaws in his kit which I personally think should be fixed, hopefully in the future. But in any case, you know, that's all the reason you need to actually pull for this banner. Okay, so let's finally take a look at why you should not be pulling for this banner. And the first one is you're already happy with Charlotta as your main healer, and again you have maxed out a few melee characters. Now Charlotta is still viable, is still good, like I said, but eventually you will need that EX plus. So if you want something to replace Charlotta a little bit later on, maybe you can invest on this. But if you're already happy with Charlotta as is, you know, you probably will skip on this banner. The next reason why you should not be pulling for this banner is you already own Rem EX. Now, like I said earlier, Rem is probably the reason why you should be pulling for this banner. Especially if you do have a lot of melee characters already, like say Cloud, Squall, Garland. You know, Cloud is the end-all be-all of the melee DPS. He can debuff, he can chase, he can paralyze. You know, he does a lot of things. However, Machina doesn't do much to change the meta, so you probably shouldn't be pulling for this if you already have Rem EX, and you can just skip out on Machina. The next reason is you're trying to save your resources, obviously, for the Emperor, which is, I believe, coming next month. He is one of the hypest character as well as when Ultimisia came out. So, you know what? If you're saving your resources, you can go ahead and skip on this banner. And finally, of course, if you're not a big fan of Type O, you can definitely just skip on by and not worry about this banner. Alright guys, so those are the reasons why you should and should not be pulling for this banner. I hope you do enjoy this video, but before I go, I do want to address one final thing, and that is, I know a lot of you guys have been requesting for me to go over the abilities and the reworks of the characters, and I hope I've done a decent job at going through a little bit of those. The reason why I don't really want to go over in so much detail regarding reworks and their abilities is they do take a lot of time, and I don't want my videos on these should you pull banner to go over like half an hour. My aim for these videos are around 20 minutes or so, and I don't really want it to go past 25 minutes, and that's really pushing it. And honestly, I feel like those reworks, or going through reworks and their abilities, I think they do deserve a separate video, like a character overview or something like that. So unfortunately, I won't be doing any character overviews at this point in time. I just don't have the time for it. Like I said previously, picking up this should you pull series has taken quite a lot of my time. Usually my 2 days off turns into 1 day off because these, you know, I have to record and edit videos for upcoming events, and I don't really have much more time for myself. So unfortunately, I won't be doing any of those character overviews, but if you do want some of those, I do believe the Broadway Sand does a pretty, really not pretty, he does a great job. And of course Lids87 as well, I think he's been doing a lot more videos in regards to character overviews, so maybe those videos are the ones for you if you want to go more into detail as to what these characters can do. Anyway, I think I'll end the video right here. Please remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. There is a new goal at 1,200 subscribers by the end of the year. So every single new subscriber is going to help me reach that goal, and I really do appreciate it. And I want to thank everyone who came down with the live stream for my 1,000 subscriber live stream. That was amazing. I really appreciate you guys who came along, and of course if you watch that as well, I do really appreciate it. And leave a like on this video, it's gonna help with the YouTube algorithm. And leave down in the comments below, are you pulling for this banner, and if so, which one is your prize? Is it Rem or is it Machina? Make sure to follow me on my social media. I am on Facebook and on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.